Mike May, and welcome to Conversations. Today we have with us Curtis Corey from Woodstock, which is one of my favorite places. And I bumped into you they were having like a festival, and you were sitting there with a whole bunch of these. And now this looks interesting. So first off, who are you?
Who am I?
Who are you? Who's Curtis Corey?
Well, I'm a family guy. I have a 31-year-old, a 27-year-old, and a 8.5-year-old. Mm-hmm. So started over a while back, but right now I drive a school bus. I've been in restaurants. I've been truck driver, but somehow this started out as something that got me out of some doldrums and became a lot more of a hobby now.
Okay. So now, which one of these was your first one, you said?
The one in your hand right now,
okay,
Two Clauses.
Yeah, this is called Two Clauses. Okay, so tell us about this one. This is your first children's book.
Back in 2018, there was a push on social media to make Santa Claus a woman, to bring a female aspect of Santa Claus. And
I never thought of that.
my thought on it was, you can't really just make Santa Claus a woman. And I said, why don't we bring a female character forward? And who would that be? And to me, that's Mrs. Claus.
Okay.
And so I said, well, I'm sitting there telling people, well, maybe you should write a different version. And I said, well, why can't I? So I did. And I bring Mrs. Claus. Santa can't finish his routes on time, so they decide they're going to build another team, and he asks Mrs. Claus to pilot the team.
Okay.
So I wrote this one, and eventually, First Flight is the second in that series that is about their first flight together, but I've improved immensely since then.
Okay.
The first time you're doing anything. But I mean, they all sort of go together because, like, the Two Clauses, I didn't know anything about any of this. And I didn't know how to illustrate. And I was visiting my sister-in-law, probably this time of year, because we go down every February to Virginia. And
we just got back last
night. And I said something about the illustration process. And she's like, have you seen what kids' books look like? She goes, maybe you should just try. And I did. I doodled, and I came up with it, and I started drawing. And if you look through my books, you can see that I improved. But her words became the inspiration for Just Try, about trying when things are hard. So they all flow together.
So you wrote these and you illustrated them?
Yes.
Oh, okay, because that was going to be my next question. Who does your illustrations? But so you're just like Dr. Seuss, because he wrote and illustrated his too.
I feel like I'm getting better. I now feel like I can call myself an illustrator. My mentor tells me I need to stop being so self-deprecating about it, that I am an artist and I have my own style. So, but I've gotten so much better since that first book.
Okay, all right. So tell us, so this is Just Try. So this is like your third book, roughly?
I think that's my fourth or fifth.
Oh, okay.
So we've done Two Clauses, First Flight. Then I have a series of fairy books, The Fae of Woodstock Valley. When I wrote it, I ended up writing it's 8 different tales, and they were supposed to be illustrated. But drawing people is not my strong suit. And it was going to be 10 illustrations at least per book, and there's 4 in this one and 4 in another, and it was going to be 80 illustrations. I'm like, oh my God, So I made it into a little chapter book instead.
Okay, all right.
So that would be my second set. And then I had a story during COVID about gardening, and we did pictures with my son.
Oh, okay. So that one's photographed.
This is photographed. These are all photographs that my wife took of my son. I don't know if you can see them or not, but
yeah. Okay.
and then then I did Just Try, and my mother said, you should write a motorcycle one.
Now, now, who said that? Your mother?
My mother.
Okay, now why would your mother say write a motorcycle one? Any special reason?
This is the true story of my parents traveling across the country. They've hit all 50 states.
Really?
They've done the 48 contiguous United States on 2 separate bikes.
Oh, good grief.
Then they've done it on 2 different trikes. And now they're doing it again. They're 75 years old and doing it again.
Well, good for them. Oh,
And my mother has gnomes all over the place, so never tell a writer to do something because they're now immortalized.
You're right, yeah,
And that's actually my reputation of the current trike that they're riding on. So, but
Well,
it goes through all their,
Oh, good,
their trips and
good for
stuff.
them. We'll have to get them on the show. Where do they live?
Stafford Springs during the summer and Alabama for the
Okay.
winters.
All right, huh. So now, so this was the first. This was the first one you illustrated.
No, I've illustrated all of these.
Oh, that's right. But this is the one you felt like you kind of had hit your speed a little bit more.
Yeah, that one, like I said, I was thinking about the past and how kids have trouble with things, and I really wanted to write a book that was specifically for that emerging reader, and it kind of wanted to test my writing skills at that point in kids' books, because I've learned that with the little kids, you want to give them that repetitiveness, so they see the same words over and over,
Right,
and then they feel good about themselves.
Right.
And I wanted to have a storyline that goes with it, and that's why I went with the just try thing. You know, frog meets rabbit who doesn't know how to build a den, and he tells him, "Well, how do you know you don't know how? Maybe you should just try." And he does.
Oh, okay.
And then he meets Snake, and then he meets a couple other
Yeah,
characters, and in the end, Frog is like, "I want to climb a tree," and they said, "Well, climb a tree." All his friends say, "Just try." He goes, "But I'm a frog. I don't climb trees," and he does.
Okay, excellent.
So it's about that. When you're scared of something, you want to make sure that you can just try and before you give up,
Okay.
which is something I've done in my life.
Okay. Okay. We're gonna take a short break, but we'll get back to that when we come back. We'll be right back.
At Community Voice Channel, you learn television production with hands-on experience. Our programming comes from volunteers, just like you. For more information on how to volunteer, call 860-645-1454 or visit www.cvcct.org. Don't just watch TV, make it.
Hello, welcome back to Conversations. We're here with Curtis Corey, who's a children's book author, and you had been talking about Just Try. Now, what's your, I had made a thing about Dr. Seuss. You're not Dr. Seuss quite yet, but now
No.
what's your day job?
My day job, I'm a school bus driver
And where?
in Woodstock.
In Woodstock. So could that be a little bit on how you got the
Yes.
idea for for this one? So Holiday School Bus. So tell us about this one.
Holiday School Bus is my newest book, and it actually stems from a conversation I had with some of my elementary school kids. They were on the bus and they were talking about Christmas and they were talking about all the presents they wanted. And I joked around, you know, that it's a pretty big list and how can Santa do it? And they said, well, he's got elves to do it. So it kind of inspired the book. So what happens in Holiday School Bus, which has now turned into a series, which I can talk about after, is I call up Mrs. Claus and she modifies my bus and tells me to push a red button. And I push the red button and we travel to the North Pole. And the kids get to go and make toys and learn how hard it is to make toys. And we meet the reindeer and some elves and such and then come back. Well, that turned into a series, the next one, and I'm procrastinating right now. I currently have 6 other Holiday School Bus stories already written. I just have to illustrate them all.
Yeah.
And I have another 5 or 6 in my mind for that series.
Good.
So the next one is the Emerald Isle, which is about St. Patrick's Day. And I was supposed to start illustrating it, and I've procrastinated. I'm kind of under the wire now. I don't know if I'm going to get it out in time. But I have St. Patrick's Day. I have Earth Day.
Oh yeah, okay, a theme like holiday.
We're going to do Halloween. I have Election Day because I want to do some civics type things with it. Then we go back and we do Valentine's Day, and we do, I have Easter written. I have things like the Tooth Fairy. I'd like to do a Martin Luther King Day one. You know, I'm working on all those, but I've got to settle down and do my illustrations for it.
Well, I taught for a long time, and what you were talking about, the holidays, I taught high school, but sometimes I would substitute teach for like the earlier grades. And if I were like an elementary teacher, that would be a great thing, because I say, okay, kids, now it's Earth Day, and here's a book on Earth Day, and here's Martin Luther King Day, and here's, you know, that some kind of a continuous theme.
Yep.
Keep something going. So that could be a very, very handy thing for a classroom to go through the whole year. When you're talking about Santa and the elves, it reminded me of something. When we were growing up, we lived in a little ranch house that didn't have a fireplace. So it was me, Susie was 2 years younger than me, but Melissa was like 3 years younger than Susie, so she was kind of little. So we knew there wasn't a Santa Claus. Am I going to blow anything here? It wasn't a Santa Claus. And Melissa, we didn't have a fireplace. And Melissa was, how does Santa get in the house? We have no fireplace. So we took her down to the basement. At the bottom of the chimney, there was a tiny little door where you clean out the ashes.
Right.
And we said, well, what Santa does, he sends a little elf down here, and the elf comes out this door, and then he goes upstairs and opens the door and lets Santa in. And she was, oh, okay. So she was content. So now she felt better that she knew how Santa got in and out of the house. Okay, so we've got Holiday School Bus, we've got Just Try, we've got the gnomes. Where would you like to go with this? You've got quite a series going here.
More or less, I mean, as we'd all like, I'd love for my books to take off. And I tell my wife, my goal is to make enough money to pay off our house. If we could live, I would feel successful at that point. It's not a lot of money, you know, in the grand scheme of things, especially one book takes off, and you could do that. But that, to me, would make me feel successful. Because back when I wrote the first one, you know, I was working for a living. I hurt my knee.
Oh,
couldn't work anymore. And I actually,
what were you doing?
I was driving a truck,
Oh, you were
delivering 5-gallon jugs of water.
Oh dear.
So that's a lot of work.
Yeah, that would be hard.
And luckily for me, my wife makes enough money where we don't need my pay. My pay's the extra. But I had gotten pretty depressed, and I realized that writing and illustrating these books keep me from falling into those doldrums. Now that I drive the school bus, at least I have that as well. But it's my hobby. It keeps me going, and gives that creative outlet that I forgot that I wanted. Because I used to, when I was a little kid, my grandmother used to save them. I used to make little cardboard books
Oh,
and
really?
tell stupid little stories.
Oh,
You
don't
know,
say stupid.
Yeah.
Hey, you know.
you know, when you're 5 and 6 years old,
Yeah. Hey.
things like that. And my grandmother had saved a bunch of them. I wish I knew whatever happened to them, because it would be a cute little thing now.
Yeah.
So, now I write for that. You know, I write for myself. I write. If they don't sell, it's a hobby. If they do sell,
Right.
I can make my family a little better
Yeah.
off.
I've got 2 children's stories I've written. I haven't illustrated them or anything, but one started with when my daughter was very little, and I would like to tease kids. I said, look, there's Bigfoot. Where? Oh, you missed him. And oh, look, a giant seagull. Where? Oh, you missed him. So one night I was putting her to bed, and she was like 5, and she thought she was going to say, Daddy, what? I think there's a monster in the closet. And she thought, I'm going to go look, and she thinks she's going to say, oh, you missed him. So I go look, and I stand and I'm looking in the closet, and I go, there is a monster in the closet. And I think she was like old enough to know, not really, but then young enough to go, well, maybe. She says, what's he doing there? So we had this big, long conversation between me and the monster and her talking. And they managed to work it out. He was going to sleep and be quiet, and she was going to go to sleep and be quiet. They were just going to bother. So I thought, ooh, that would make a cute story. Now here's the silly thing. Now where do you get? Well, this one, the gnomes one, you got this one from. This is like a true story, kind of. Comes from your parents. Well, tell us about some of the ones you've got coming up.
I told you about the series with the Holiday School Bus. I also currently have Rabbit's Garden written and not illustrated.
Okay, so Rabbit's Garden. So what's that?
Rabbit's Garden is about a rabbit who is watching a little boy in the garden. It's funny because I tie my things together. So Rabbit's Garden comes from the rabbit from Just Try,
Oh, okay.
and the busy little gardener, my son.
Okay.
So he's watching the busy little gardener do a garden, and he goes, the busy little gardener throws him some scraps here and there. And then Rabbit goes and takes him out of the garden, and the busy little gardener's not very happy about it. So Rabbit's all confused, and eventually busy little gardener comes and brings seeds over and helps Rabbit plant his own garden.
Okay.
So I have that one. I took a class on writing and illustrating kids' books.
Oh.
So either last year or the year before, and I wrote it's a 10-sentence story called Calliope Can. It's Calliope Can't Swim because it's going to become a series when I get around to it.
Yeah.
And it's about a little 5-year-old girl who wants to swim all the way to the buoys,
Oh, yeah.
and she hasn't been able to do it. And this time she's going to do it.
Well, then you have to have her you have to read her Just Try.
Right.
Of course, if she's swimming, she's got to be a little bit more careful.
So that series will be about her trying things, new things, to inspire around that 5-year-old age group.
Okay, good.
And then I also have a chapter book written, or it's for the tween age.
Why don't you hold that? We have to take a short break, and we'll be right back. You're expanding at the tween. Okay, we'll be right back. Okay, welcome back to Conversations. I'm Mike Mann. We're here with Chris Corey, a
Curtis.
Curtis. Oh, Curtis Corey. Take two. Curtis Corey. Oh, you can leave it in. That's okay. You can leave it in. Are we still rolling?
5, 4.
Hello, I'm Mike May. Welcome back to Conversations, and we're here with Curtis Corey. Something you missed was I mixed up the names, and they cut that out. But that's one of the advantages with not being live. Anyway, so you're a children's author now. So you have an idea in your head. Now I've got something in my hand. So how do you go about getting something published?
Well,
Getting it out
I
there.
had absolutely no clue how to do that, and I looked up a couple places, and it's things that I now know we call them vanity presses.
Yeah, I've heard of that.
You
yeah.
pretty much pay for
yeah.
them to do it for you. I was one day away from writing the $3,000 check. I would have had to sell these books for over $20 to make a profit.
$20?
I would not pay $20 for that book.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm sure it's very nice.
I
but yeah.
charge $10
Yeah.
on Amazon. I met my mentor, who's now my mentor, and she told me not to do it, and she's helped me immensely. She's helped format, she's helped with editing, and she does seminars, and she has books out on how to self-publish. I don't know if I can mention her name, but her name's Lisa Shea. If you look up her books on self-publishing. KDP is Kindle Direct Publishing. It goes through Amazon.
Kindle, so that's the...
The Kindle,
Oh,
yep.
okay.
And it's absolutely free. I format out my book, or in this case, she formatted out my books. You upload the file, and if you went and ordered my book, they print it, send it out, send me a check in 2 months.
Oh, okay.
Now, you don't make a lot. It's
Yeah.
the buck, but $1 or $2 a book at the $10 price market. But that's about the same as if you got published as well.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, I see. So,
And even professional publishers, unless you're a big name, they don't market for you. They want you to still market yourself.
yeah, yeah.
Which
yeah.
is the downfall for everything, trying to market. But the ISBN number, they supply it for free. I have an author page that's on Amazon that's totally free. I write short stories and I can just upload it. I have a Bigfoot, you mentioned Bigfoot earlier, when you were talking about your kid. I have a Bigfoot series on Amazon
really?
on Vella, Kindle Vella. It's a episodic type episode. But my mentors helped me, and this is the first one that I formatted myself.
Now, when you say format yourself, what do you mean? So you have,
Well, you got to go into Microsoft Word or into like Google Docs and make sure you get the pictures right and line everything up. And that
so you upload,
you create a document that you turn into Adobe, and then yeah.
so you like upload the pictures and then you upload the text.
No, you do it in Word. I have to in Word, a Word document, and then you save it to Adobe, a PDF. Sorry, I'm not very computer savvy, so it was a big deal to me that I was able to do this one myself, and it took. I was almost begging her to just take it over because I couldn't figure out what I was doing wrong.
Oh, okay.
And finally, I figured it out, and now I'm confident enough that I can do my own. She still helps me with covers.
So once you get it uploaded, like if you want, like when you go to the fairs, if you want 20 copies, you say, send me 20 copies.
I can
and
get.
and you pay X.
Well, Amazon will give you. You can buy author copies at their print cost.
Oh, okay.
So they don't make their profit off it. They just do it at their print
No
cost.
kidding. That's almost like a public service.
Well, I'm sure they make their money
Yeah,
somewhere
but
along the
still,
line
yeah,
on that.
yeah.
But so I do the print. I'll order it that way. But it's kind of interesting that if I order it through my Amazon Prime, I don't pay shipping, and I can get it in 2 days. If I order an author copy, I pay shipping, and it takes about 2 to 3 weeks. I'm not sure why, but if you plan ahead, it works out well. I know sometimes some of the authors will just keep their price low,
Yeah.
and buy them through their Prime accounts and just take whatever royalties
Yeah.
that way. But
Well, now again, we'll talk some more later because I have a couple kids' stories I've written that are sitting in the drawer, and I thought, oh, I don't know how to get these published, but we'll talk some more later, and I'm going to cut you out. No, no. I'll be sitting at the booth next to you. Buy mine instead. No, I'm not going to do that. Okay, so you self-publish through Amazon, and they send them. You get your author, and then you go to the different fairs.
yeah, I've been doing at least one a month in the fall, usually September, October, November, December. I want to expand and do, if I could do one a month, depending on the time,
Right, yeah.
family obligations
Sure,
take up
yeah,
that.
yeah.
But I look for ones that aren't like expensive. I
Oh, that's right. You have to pay a fee.
you got a lot of them. You have to pay a fee.
Sure. Well, yeah.
The one you met me at. That's a Woodstock townwide winter festival, and I don't pay anything
yeah,
for the.
right,
You know,
yeah.
That's just us promoting business in town.
Right. That's a Woodstock thing. Yeah.
And I do stuff for. I've inadvertently created a art auction to benefit Roseland Park, so they're real good.
Oh, we
Real
love
good on
Roseland
that.
Park.
I love Roseland Park.
Yeah.
So
We had an interesting. We went there once about like 25 years ago, and we were at the dock, and I was just looking out, and my wife and I noticed, like, to keep seagulls off the docks, we've seen this. They put like a big fake rubber snake to scare the seagulls away. So we were looking at it, and then the big fake rubber snake jumped up and then slithered off into the water, and we went, "Oh,
it wasn't a rubber
that
snake.
wasn't that wasn't a fake. It wasn't fake. Okay, no. If you ever have a chance to go to Roseland Park,
Roseland Park.
Roseland Park is beautiful, beautiful, beautiful spot to spend the day and picnic and hang out.
Yeah, they have playgrounds. Rick and Dee Dee do a fantastic job of upkeeping it and expanding it. They do weddings and stuff like that there.
Yeah. Oh, is that do they live there? Or are they like the?
They live there. They're the
Oh,
caretakers.
the big house with the big beautiful garden. Oh, tell them
Yeah,
I
it's
love.
a private park. It's not town, so it's all by donations and things
Oh,
like that.
really? Oh, that I didn't know. Oh, well, tell them they do a beautiful job.
Yeah, they've been fantastic.
Oh, okay, okay. All right, now, so you've got another series you work. So this is just really like you're chugging along, an ongoing thing.
I go through spurts.
Yeah.
You know, I get inspired and I write, or I get inspired and I draw. And right now I'm trying to force myself into my drawing because I have too many things written that need illustrating. But you've got to go where the inspiration is.
Yeah, yeah.
I have a, I think it would be considered a low fantasy, or at least that's what it was originally supposed to be. but it became like a human interest tween story.
Oh, okay.
And that's 3/4 of the way done, but I had to stop to illustrate this in time.
Right, yeah,
and now
yeah.
I'm having a hard time getting back to it.
Right.
I have another one about another tween one about eating disorders.
Oh, yeah.
It's just a short story right now, but I see where it's going to become probably a novella. And
Ah.
I write my chapters more like short stories and put them together because I think my attention span can only handle. I found this sweet spot of about 2,500 words.
Okay.
So if I can tell the story in that amount and then just continue the story in like episodes, almost like
Right, yeah.
like a TV show episode. You finish this, but there's always a longer theme going.
Okay, good. All right, well, Curtis, I'm glad I bumped into you at the fair, and I wish you all the best. I hope we'll be hearing more from you in the future. We can say we knew you. Remember, I knew Curtis Corey when he came to Bolton.
We hope. We hope.
Okay, well, Curtis, thank you for joining us, and thank you.
you.
I'm Mike May. This has been Conversations, and we hope to see you again.